Hi guys, welcome to Instant Ramen, and welcome to my PS3 collection guide. I've been collecting PS3 games for a little over a year now, and I want to go over some of the tastier games in my collection today. At the time of recording, I have just a smidge over 460 games in total, some of which I have only recently bought and are not sorted into my collection. They'll likely turn up in a collection update video later. Before I get started, I would just like to say that I'm not saying that these games are rare or expensive, although some of them are for one reason or another. They're just the games that I might have had difficulty finding, I particularly enjoy, have easy platinum trophies, or interest me in some other way. Use this video as a sort of buying guide, but not every game in here has to be rare or expensive to be collectible, particularly if you're going for the full set collection like me, except for sports games, because sports games. I'm also an Aussie collector, so many of my games will be PAL, but considering PS3 is not region locked, I shouldn't think this would offend anybody, but if it does, please don't let the door hit you on the way out of my comment section, you toxic animal. Bloody wankers, honestly. My game collection is very large at this point, as I've said, so I'll be breaking this up into the most interesting games in the first 50 games of my collection. I've put in a metric buttload of work to bring this collection video to you, so make sure you leave a like and subscribe to Instant Ramen, it really does help a lot. Cheers. 3D Dot Game Heroes is like a love letter to old school Zelda. I've not played this game myself, but the game receives a ton of love by the community and has earned itself a decent 77 on Metacritic. I don't think this game is particularly rare, but it is on the more expensive side of life, going for around $30 American. I did cave and bought this online for that price because I just never see it in any of my local hunting grounds. Going for the platinum for this game would set you back around 40 to 50 hours. 50 Cent Blood in the Sand received pretty decent reviews considering the game amounted to 50 Cent essentially jerking himself into video game form. The third person shooting gameplay is solid enough, and it's a bit of dumb fun that any 50 Cent fan might enjoy. The game is not all that rare, I see it from time to time, and I've picked up my copy for less than $2 if I remember correctly, though a copy on eBay would set you back around $15 US. Highly recommend just waiting for this one to show up in a local bargain bin though. The platinum sadly is no longer achievable thanks to online trophies and server shutdowns. Adventure Time Jake and Finn Collections is interesting to me because it has one of the shortest platinums in the PS3 library. PS3trophies.org rates it a 1 out of 10 difficulty, and it's an estimated 6 to 10 hours to complete with no online trophies, thank flipping heck. The game is around 20 to 25 American on eBay, though it's not all that rare. I wouldn't say you would eventually find this in a bargain bin though, but you will find one in store at some point or another. Unless you're desperate for the easy plat, I would suggest waiting for this one for the right price. I paid no more than $5 for it. JRPGs are a polarizing bunch of games. As a collector, you either hate to love them or love to hate them. I myself am of the former, but if you don't partake, just know that me and my wallet can respect your decision. However, God seemed fit to curse me with a love for Japanese culture and games in all its perversions, so there was no bloody way I wasn't picking this game up. I've never once seen a copy of this floating around in my local spots, so I again resorted to paying for this one online. I managed to find it for $15 at the time, but the game these days will set you back around $25. Again, I'm not saying it's rare, but the weebs love their waifu and they're willing to pay for it. The game essentially has you trying to find vampires and killing them by exposing them, stripping them almost naked to expose their bodies to sunlight, because Japan. The game received a mediocre 57 on Metacritic, but it has its charms and they're not lost on me. The platinum for this game will set you back around 30 hours. Alice Madness Returns received mediocre scores by critics, but it was widely loved by fans for its interesting platforming and dark setting. The game takes place 10 years after the events of the first game, which, if you picked up the game brand new and used the download code, came with Alice Madness Returns as a bonus. The game can take you anywhere from 20 to 40 hours for the platinum. Next, I'd like to talk about two games together because I believe they represent what and what not to do with a beloved entertainment IP. Alien Isolation and Alien Colonial Marines. While Alien Isolation is a triumph in the horror game genre, boasting interesting puzzles and an intelligent enemy AI, Alien's Colonial Marines, by comparison and on its own merits, is just as bad as it gets. The invincible xenomorph from Alien Isolation is laughable cannon fodder in Colonial Marines. The gameplay swings from boring to broken, and it's ugly to boot. The game was panned by critics and fans alike, reviewing 43 and a 3.6 user score. Personally though, I love collecting bad games. Don't know what it is, but the worse the game is, the more I want to collect it. Call me crazy, but I sought out this game because it was bad. I can't wait to do my video on the worst games on the system This one might very well make the cut, though there are some far, far worse games, trust me. Remember how I said I wouldn't really be commenting on whether the game was empirically rare? Well, forget that for just a second, because this game, or rather this triple pack, is insanely rare. The Ireland Atelier triple pack is widely considered rare because of its low print run as a triple pack. Individually, these games aren't too hard to find, especially online, but the triple pack will cost you a pretty penny. The only copy I could find online was on eBay, listed for a cool 60 American dollars. I was fortunate enough to find my copy for $20 on Gumtree, essentially America's Craigslist, I think. That's what Gumtree is. The pack does include 3 games, so maybe 60 is not all that terrible, but for a PS3 game to be that expensive and hard to find in 2019 is saying a lot. Speaking of triple packs, the next game is Assassin's Creed Birth of a New World, The Americas Saga. Don't get it twisted, I don't think these games are rare, and I don't even think that this triple pack is all that hard to find. I managed to find my copy for $10 on eBay, but I will say that it's interesting physically. I believe this is the only way you can get a copy of Liberation for the PS3. I love my PS Vita, and I have a copy for that as well, but if you want to play this game full screen, this is the way to go. Next game I want to talk about is Asura's Wrath. Is it Asura's Wrath? Asura's Wrath? I feel like Asura's Wrath. Asura's Wrath. I wouldn't say this game is all that rare, but I don't see it very often. I managed to pick mine up in a 4 for $20 deal at my local game store at the time, but I haven't seen another copy since. I played the opening 3 hours or so, and it plays a lot like an anime. It's really over the top in like its visual style and reminds me of epic battles like from the Naruto series. The game received a decent score of 71 on Metacritic and would take about 20 to 30 hours to platinum. Battlefield Bad Company is an excellent franchise, but no stranger to the term shovelware. That is, until you consider the Gold Edition, and furthermore the Steelbook Gold Edition. I managed to find mine on Gumtree for $2 as part of a game bundle I bought, but this game is worth $20 online for PS3, I believe, a little cheaper for Xbox. I don't see many copies online though, so this may be more uncommon than the price would suggest, but if you can find this thing in good condition for $10 or less, I'd pick it up, especially if the game was in good condition. Remember when I said that I love bad games? Well, this is a movie game based on a bad movie that became arguably a worse game. Naturally, it's right up my alley. I'm not willing to stick my neck out and call this trash rare, but I've only ever seen one copy and I bet it sold terribly. From what I remember, the movie was a flop and I believe it starred Rihanna, and I don't think she returned to Hollywood thereafter. Critically, it received 44 on Metacritic and a 2.7 user score, so I mean, it's still technically better than Colonial Marines? Yikes. The game does have an easy platinum trophy for less than 7 hours though, so I will definitely be giving it my time at some point. The last game I want to talk about in this video is Bayonetta for the PS3. Although the game was received well by critics and gamers alike, receiving a stellar 90% on Metacritic, this did not translate to sales on the PS3. The game is interesting because, for whatever reason, Sega, who was publishing the game at the time, mishandled the PS3 port and after a great deal of backlash, stepped aside. Platinum Games remark that if it had not been for Nintendo taking up the publishing exclusivity rights, there would never have been a sequel. Cheers, Nintendo. This game is in no way rare, and it's not even particularly expensive thanks to its re-release on Switch, though I do think it's a game worth its place in any PS3 collection. That's where I'll end it today, guys. Hopefully I can do a part 2 to this PS3 game collection series sometime this week. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Catch us later.